Hey, what's cracking? How are you doing today? I hope that this video finds you doing well today. I hope that you're on top of the world. But I always like to start off the videos by saying that if the day isn't going your way, or you're just down in the dumps, or depressed, or aggravated at life for any reason in the world, we always like to take the first of these videos to take a moment to think about a few ways in our life that we're blessed. And sometimes you might have a hard time doing that. You might look around and see that everyone else has so much more. It seems like everything's going their way and they have pockets full of money or a big bank account. Seems like you just can't get a foothold. Things never go your way. But I want you to know that perspective is everything in this life. The way that you look at things will determine how your life goes, how your day goes, whether you're happy or not. Happiness is not something that falls in your lap. You don't move to a perfect place and find your dream home and you're happy forever after when you meet the right person or money falls into your lap. It doesn't work that way. People are happy and unhappy regardless how much they have. Happy is something you have to work for. And it all comes from your perspective in life. If you wake up in the morning and you look at the things that you have and you appreciate the fact that you're breathing, that you're alive, then things are more apt to go your way. You're more apt to see the world through better eyes. But if you wake up looking at what you don't have, aggravated from the beginning, then things just aren't going to seem very good to you in your life. So we always like to start these videos by taking a moment to think about the things we're blessed with in our life. To change the channel, you might say, just like you would if you're listening to the radio and a song come on you didn't like. And if that's hard for you to do, maybe if you listen to a few of these videos, you'll be able to listen to what my life was like. And then you can say, wow, if that guy is still happy after all that, well, then maybe I can be too. Because I'm here to tell you can be. I'm happy. And if this is the first time you've joined one of my videos, my name is Ricky Dye. And I went to prison when I was 15 years old. And I was in prison for 20 years, 5 months, and 29 days. That wasn't my sentence. That's how long I was in prison, locked up. I was in there that long straight. I didn't get a break. Didn't get to go visit my family for a little while. And it was all the roughest places. I wasn't in minimums and work centers. I was in medium, high medium, medium max, and max. And I've started off my stories from the very beginning, talking about what caused me to commit my crime, what my crime was, the juvenile center, being certified as an adult, the county jail, and now in prison with the adults. And the story right now, I'm in McAllister, maximum security, Oklahoma State Penitentiary. But I've been jumping right back into that story, but I want to stop for a moment to address some other things and to tell you a few things that are going to come up in a couple future stories that I won't be able to go into detail. So there's a lot of things that I want to tell you in these videos, and I've talked to you about it, that I'm afraid that I might get myself in trouble by saying it. Because I'm going to tell you now, I started off a scared kid, not knowing what to do. But the only thing that ended up mattering to me was what other people in prison thought of me. It started being important to me what other people in prison thought about me. Should have never mattered. But sadly, you'll learn in these stories that it does matter what the people in there think about you, if you're going to be there for years living in there. But I got caught up, and it started to be more important to me what people thought about me than it was coming home. And I'm going to go from being that scared kid to being everything a white boy should be in prison. Believe that I passed every test I was put to. But I want you to know how I really felt, not how people thought I felt. Because we see ourselves different than people perceive us. And we feel a lot different on the inside than what we show to the world. But in these videos, I've decided to be completely 100% honest. I tell you every time how I feel, how I felt at the time, truthfully. When I was afraid, I tell you that. And I'm going to tell you other things that I'm not so proud of later on when I get lost. But it's important right now that I catch you up on a few things. And also I wanted to answer some questions that some people had, some comments. People have asked me about some things, and I want to cover it. One of those things is people ask me about the gangs in prison. It's going to take me a few minutes to talk about that. I also want to give my appreciation to a few people for different things. And a few little, we'll call them news things. I set up a Discord. It's called Families of the Incarcerated, if you'd like to get on that. In the state of Oklahoma, when you have a loved one that goes to prison, they basically go to prison with you. They may not be locked up, but if they love you, they're right there, and they're getting punished just as well as you are. And when I would get moved from one place to another, my mom really never could find any information to help her. There's nowhere to call or contact, really. So we've decided that we would start this Discord. It was a girl named Melody Henry's idea. She's going to moderate it and be the one running that. But I set it up. It's Families of the Incarcerated. If you have some questions, you post them there. We'll try to help you find the answers. And when we find the answers, we'll post the answers so that later on, anyone else who has questions, maybe they'll be able to get some help on that. Make it a little easier for the families. And I want to talk and tell you that when these videos first started, I had no idea how they were going to go. Everybody knows I had a little cheap phone. I just sat down in my car with some earbuds. You couldn't hear the first 5 videos. And I just went with it because I felt like I was supposed to. These videos are a labor of love for me. I want to help somebody. I really do. For everyone who has liked a video or just viewed a video, if you subscribe to my channel, I appreciate you so much. I'm getting close to 300. I need 1,000 to become a YouTube partner. If you haven't subscribed yet, if you like the videos, please do that for me. Take the time to subscribe. And if you don't want to be bothered by the notifications or whatever, just turn those off, but you can still subscribe to the channel. But even more important to me than you subscribing to my channel is that you share it with people, because I can talk until I'm blue in the face, but if you don't share it with the right kid, the right young person, any person who needs this video, then I'm just talking for nothing. And the only reason I'm doing this is to try to help somebody. So I would really appreciate it for you to share it. That's the most important for me. And I want to thank everyone who's tried to help me. And I'm sorry that it's took me so long to say thank you to this man, but Todd Poole, thank you. I remember him as a kid, and early on when I was struggling to get this thing going, he asked me if I needed anything. And I told him that I didn't, but he was going to help me. And that's just as good as helping me. I used to say all the time, I never forget when someone leaves me in a ditch, but I never forget when someone pulls me out of one either. So thank you, Todd. And I also wanted to say that when I was in prison, I did some talking for Scared Straight. They bring some young people in there to talk to me when I was at Lexington the first time, and I mentioned that, and I was younger than a lot of them. So I've also done my testimony at my church, although it wasn't a lot of people. And everything that I've done so far, I've done it just because I felt like I was supposed to do that. And so now I'm going to take the next step, what I think I'm supposed to do. So from this point on, I'm willing to do a little public speaking. If you would like for me to come to your church or your function and speak for 30 minutes or so, or maybe up to an hour, 30 minutes to an hour, I'd rather keep it around 30 minutes. If I'm able to get there, I would be willing to do that. So if you're interested in that, if you can contact me through my email. It's in the tags of the description on the bottom of the video. If it would be better probably if you would contact me through Messenger on Facebook. I'll always see it, the emails I miss a lot of times. And now I want to get to the questions that people ask me. First, I want to say that on almost every yard you go to, you have to sit with your own race. I covered what happened to me at Lexington when I first went there, but that's all there is to it. The first thing you'll notice when you walk into chow hall is one side is white, one side is black. And then somewhere in the middle, there'll be a little spot where the Mexicans are and a little spot where the Indians are. And that's where you have to sit with your own people. And if you're white, that's not even all of it, okay? There'll be a table or two that's for the Aryans, for the Universal Aryan Brotherhood, for the UABs. And you don't go sit at that table unless you're invited, period. You don't sit there unless you're invited there. And then next to those tables will be the prospect tables for the people who are prospecting for the Brotherhood. And you also don't sit there unless you're invited or unless you're a prospect. The Bloods and Crips all have their own areas. The Indians have the Indian Brotherhood area. And one Brotherhood you do not want to cross, the Indian Brotherhood. And that's what the question was about. He said that it seemed like all the Indians that went to prison that he knew when they came out were in the Indian Brotherhood. And let me say off the bat that I would never mean any disrespect to the Indian Brotherhood. I'm not afraid of anybody, but I'm going to tell you that those guys can call shots and get them done. I wouldn't feel so safe that I would think I could sit here and talk smack about one of the war chiefs and nothing would happen to me, because it would, even out here. And you're crazy if you think it wouldn't. Those guys in McAllister especially, and that's where all the head of the Aryan Brotherhoods, the head of the Indian Brotherhoods, the head of the Mexicans, I can't think of the names at the moment, but there's two major groups of Mexicans. I'm sure if you're a Mexican, you know what they are. But there's two that run things, and they try to keep them on separate yards, even in medium security, because they don't want a war between them. And they try to keep them separated. Sometimes, if you're in a certain gang and you get to a yard, if you're in a gang and you get there and there's a lot of the other side there, someone that your gang has problems with, they may not put you on the yard. They'll put you in administrative protective custody in a cell and lockup and ship you to another yard where they feel you'll be safe, because they know something will happen. So, but as far as he said about the Indians, yeah, man, just about every Indian that goes in, if he's about anything, if you go in and you're Indian and you're in for any kind of a sex crime, you're going to get beat out immediately. The Indians handle that, and they're not just going to beat you out. You're probably going to get stabbed up real bad. Most races will beat you up and stomp you out, but the Indians usually stab. Medium and maximum security, almost always. And they'll do it to their own also. There was a guy, an Indian, he was in the Indian Brotherhood, and he was in a NDU at Stringtown, and he had words with the Indian war chief. And when he got to the next yard, he was running around there. He was in the Indian Brotherhood, and there was 3 others there that were in the Indian Brotherhood. And these 4 run around all together, all the time. And then the word come down from that war chief for these 3 to stab this guy. They've been running around him every day. And then one morning they go over to get him up for breakfast. He has no idea anything's going on. And he gets up and they stab him up real good. And I was on the yard when it happened. They nearly killed him. And they stabbed him a bunch of times with ice picks. And the worst thing you can get stabbed with is an ice pick. If you get stabbed with a knife, they can sew you together. These homemade shanks, even a real one. But if you get stabbed with an ice pick, whether it's homemade or not, they put these little holes in you. When you get to the hospital, they don't know if they've punctured something on the inside. So they have to open you up. So you end up with a scar from here to here, making sure you have no internal bleeding. So the worst thing to get stabbed with is an ice pick. And also, you'll keep fighting. You just feel like you're getting hit with your adrenaline flowing, and you're bleeding on the inside, and all of a sudden you just fall out. So an ice pick is very, very dangerous. So, and the Indian Brotherhood is probably the most dangerous in there. They're no joke, man. The Mexicans are pretty much the same way. The Mexicans and the Indians usually stick together. And then when there's some big deal, it's usually everybody against the blacks. I hate to say that, but it's just true. There's a lot more blacks than there are any other race. And all the other races usually stick together against them when it comes down to it. And when that happens, the Bloods and the Crips, the Muslims, they all stick together, man. I'm in McAllister in my videos, and in a little while, in a couple of videos, the deal's going to come up. And you're going to just have to take for granted the thing I'm about to tell you next. I'm going to talk to you about the only way drugs get in prison in McAllister, unless someone has figured out a better way. When I was there, things are different now. I believe you can only visit through a glass. So remember, I'm talking about 1992. I was 18 years old when I got there. And the only way to get in drugs at the time, when your family comes to visit you, they have to go through a metal detector. If they have a purse or anything, if they empty all their pockets, they go through their purse. Then they pat search them. And my mom hated coming because she said they really touched you, your private areas, your breast, everything. They really touch you well. But you have to have somebody that's willing to go through all that, and possibly even a strip search if they suspect you of anything or they have any reason to suspect them. They have to go by a drug dog a lot of times. But if they are willing to go through all of that and sneak in drugs to you, wrapped up really well, way that they have to be wrapped and squashed down real small, and then wrapped in black electrical tape and make all the edges smooth, because what happens is you have to catch a guard not looking and stick it in your rear. Or usually you're not able to get your hand into your pants in McAllister. You'll get caught. There's only a few people in the visiting room at a time. There's a guard and a desk that's up above you right in the center. And they sit there and they watch you very well. And there are also cameras on you with other people watching you. So you're not going to be able to get your hand down your pants. So the only other thing that leaves in the visiting room is you have to have them wrap it up in some little balloons that you can swallow. Put it in some kind of candy or chip bag. Have the guts to sneak it through that search and everything, past that dog to get it to you. And then when you get into the visiting room at McAllister, when you first get there, back then, I don't think you even get that now, but back then, you got to walk up and get one hug and kiss from your visitor. a short kiss, not a long one. And then you go and you sit across the table. They're normal little tables like you see anywhere, the brown tables with folding chairs on each side. And you have to sit on the opposite side of the table, cameras on you, and the guard right there, and you're not allowed to touch. Even across the table, you can't hold hands or anything. And they have vending machines where they can get you a pop and a candy bar, a bag of chips, but you're not allowed to touch the money. They have to get up and go get it and then give it to you. So if you've got somebody with enough guts to sneak it in through that search, past that dog and that pat search, and through that metal detector, and they're willing to risk their own freedom to go up there and get a bag of chips or candy or whatever, and then slide you a bag that looks just like it with those balloons in it, then you sit there and swallow those balloons. And then when you get back to your cell, you throw it up. And that's one way to get them in, get your drugs in. The only other way is to talk guard into it or to manage your way through the mail. So in a couple of videos, when I tell you I was able to help some guys do something, you're just going to have to take it for granted that I figured out some way to do that. But I just wanted to tell you the different ways that you could get them in there at the time. And I want to tell you a few other things you can't do in prison. One, you can't sit on that side. The other thing is, in most prisons, you can't hang out if you're white. You can't hang out with a black guy in a cell all the time. You can't go in the cell and what they call put the jigger curtain up. Well, when you hear someone say jigger out, that means the police is coming. Jigger out, that means the police is coming. But guys, when they get ready to use the bathroom, they go in there and they put the curtain up, what they call a curtain, blocks a little window to your cell so you can have a little privacy and use the bathroom. And that's called a jigger curtain. But if you're on a medium security yard, none of this can happen in McAllister where I'm at. But I took a break on that story. Remember, medium security. If you're a white guy, you're not allowed to let a black guy tattoo on you. You can't do that either. There's a lot of rules in there. And you think, oh, I don't care what they say. I'm going to do what I want to do. Well, if you do that, you'll get beat out. I have one little white partner named Ghost. He's a white guy. Always wanted to be a Crip. Hung out with black guys his whole life. Half his family was black. He was adopted into a black family. Wanted to be a Crip, man. And they liked him a lot. He showed he had heart over and over. Everyone could see he wouldn't tell on anyone, and that's very important. He kept his word. So in order to be put on Crips, they had to beat you on and they beat you off. So he went in the cell with 3 other black guys that were on the set, and they beat him on the set. And that means he had to fight all 3 of them at one time. And usually when they do that, they give you some lumps, but they take it easy on you. But they didn't on him because he was white. Ghost ended up with scars all over his face from getting beat on the set. And now if he ever wants to be off the set, he has to be beat off the set. And it would be even worse. And he was all right on that yard, and the white guys pretty much left him alone, and the black guys accepted him. And the danger you have when you're a white guy and you hang out with black guys and you take them, you decide this guy will be my friend no matter what. And I did that at times. And there's a lot of things that I did in prison that the average white guy cannot get away with. And I'll be the first one to say it, and I'm going to explain why as the videos go. But time and again, you'll see me get away with things that most people can't do. But it was because I went so young and because of all my friends, because people really like me. Because if you go in there and you're the toughest buck around, man, then some guy's going to be intimidated by you and someone will take you out. So being tough's not going to get you through there. You got to really use your head. People have to like you, and you need an extreme amount of luck. There's somebody praying for you. And that's all there is to it, especially when you're in there for a very long time. When you're in there for a real long time, the odds go up of you catching a disease that will take your life eventually, of doing something that will get you more time, or of being killed yourself. So that pretty much covers everything I wanted to catch up on. Next video, I'll jump right back into McAllister. If you haven't subscribed yet, please do that. You really help me out. That's all I can ask for you is support the channel. Please hit the subscribe button if you haven't. And please share it with everyone, because that's most important. Talk to them blue in the face doesn't do me any good. If you'd like me to come speak at your function, hit me up on Messenger. If you have family incarcerated, you need some questions answered, hit us up on the Discord. Mayor Melody will answer you on that. Thanks, Melody, for having my back. And may God protect, bless, keep you and yours. And I'll see you in the next one. Peace out.